I have to confess that I have been very neglectful of the work of Federico Fellini, the Italian director. As a youth and later into middle age, I saw him as an extreme, eccentric sort of character, a type of director who created movies that were extremely difficult to follow, and then they had an array of characters that seemed to have been born into a circus environment and represented society's misfits. And I really failed to appreciate that Fellini was committed to telling stories in his movies through the use of images rather than ideas. His earlier work, La Strada and The Night of Cabiria, had a clear plot, and for me, this enabled a full appreciation of the characters and the storylines, and I love them both. Moving into the era of filmmaking that critics say is more self-indulgent and merges reality and fantasy, La Dolce Vita presented challenges for me, and now I'm going to review 8½, which many see as the pinnacle of Fellini's work. Now I must say that I see his work as not only being a journey exploring his life through a mix of real experience, plus an amalgam of memories and fantasies that he visualises, but also an opportunity for me to open up my own life stories and get a sense of time to them and recall all those characters that have shared memories, shared moments and experiences with, and reawaken them in all their glory, darkness and pleasure. So 8½'s a film about the difficulties of making a new film when a successful director is struggling to create a script with meaningful characters, when he's trying to cope with life's changes as well as he ages, and it's re-evaluating life's priorities. In the film, it also recalls memories and fantasies that he has had throughout his life. It's told as a monologue by the director, and its hero, Guido, played brilliantly by Marcelo Mastroinani, is clearly intended to represent Fellini. The plot switches constantly between the real interactions at an amphitheatre spa in Rome, where movie people have assembled, actors, actresses, agents, technical crew, friends of the famous, plus people known to Guido, some in his private life and others just professionally. And it also has recollections of his early life as a child and how he recalls events with his parents, his mother's unhappiness with Guido's father philandering, events at school, and of course the huge impact of the Catholic Church, plus sexual awakening as a teenager, and we see fantasies that are interspersed with real life memories. The plot involves the relationships that Guido has with 3 women: his wife, his lover, and his perceived perfect woman. I'll avoid too much plot detail as this will take away your joy as a viewer. However, I think it's quite easy to follow the shifts from real to imagined events, but others have said the opposite. It's a subtitled film, so you should focus your concentration because Fellini's movies are full of activity. They have a multitude of actors, maximise imagery, and are easily to lose the thread if your mind wanders. You'll benefit if you stay the course, of course. It's a lengthy 2 hours 14 minutes, and I think you will be frequently be reminded of your own timeline as you witness Guido's. The film opens with this collage of people in their cars, and we see various interactions going on. A man appears to be conducting foreplay with a woman, and we see them all in close-ups, including a man who's asphyxiating, and above this montage, a man with a noose around his neck in the sky connected to someone holding the string, much like a kite. The symbolism here sets up the state of Guido's mind as he struggles with his public and private life in lieu of the new project that he is struggling to organise. An early question is posed by a female to Guido. Guido, are you cooking up a new movie about hopelessness? Next, there's an array of women of all ages, shapes and sizes. Guido's portfolio of females in his life. Fellini has always been a big fan of musical scores to generate emotion and action. And here we listen to Wagner's Rivolta nel Harem, Ride of the Valkyries, four sisters remembering fallen comrades. And as women assemble at this amphitheatre in Rome, where Guido has built the set for his new project, the close-ups allow you, the viewer, to consider the women. Are they attracted to them? What sort of a woman are they? It's like flicking through a photo album of beauties, young and old, buxom and slim. Another fascinating aspect to 8.5 is the contrast in the three lead women. His wife Luisa is battle-scarred to Guido's ways, and her pain is clearly worn on her metaphorical sleeve. Carla, however, is Guido's lover, and she's a young actress who's very childlike and seeks attention at every opportunity, which Guido provides as long as they are out of sight. He likes being playful with her, but she's still very much a child in her behaviour. And then there is Claudia, who Guido places on a pedestal beyond his immediate grasp, and he maintains fantasies of her being the perfect woman for him. We also meet previous flirtations, actresses used in other films, and it's clear that Guido's suave, handsome demeanour has enabled him to attract beautiful, famous women throughout his life. There's also a dream sequence of Guido in a harem, a theme repeated in other later Fellini films, acknowledging the importance of sexual imagery, also used when glamorising older females. Some appearing quite bawdy and others made up in drag, and performers who resemble those in cabaret. We are indulged by the swing with a reggae feel as part of the evening entertainment at the spa. The dreams, memories of Guido's early childhood hint at the loss of his father and the household being full of neighbourhood kids. And then as he moves toward early adolescence, the first feeling of sexual interest, dancing with a local prostitute near the riverbank, is told. And what follows is the impact of the Catholic Church and school as Guido is punished and ridiculed for his inquisitiveness. Fellini returns to his use of mentalists as part of the variety show for the guests at the spa, and Guido is used as a subject, which is poignant. And there's also a brief nod to Chaplin, reminding us of the comedic aspect involved in Fellini's work. Okay, some comments about the director's style. He uses minor characters, brief moments, to capture more images and real emotional turmoil, bringing them from background to foreground, which provokes constant interest without detracting from his lead, Mastroinani. Details matter to Fellini, as they do in our own timelines. Mastroinani, a repeated lead in Fellini movies, is once again a commanding figure whose style is discreet, deft, interactive and tender at moments. He also delivers uncertainty and insecurity through being quiet and distant. It's a 5-star performance for sure. Considerable weight is made about the importance of religion and religious figures that Guido needs to maintain a good relationship with. And so the confession box is symbolically used to represent Guido's need for guidance after his waywardness with the prostitute when he was young. Surroundings in the chapel typify the religious message regarding the purity of sexuality amid all the hypocrisy. Towards the end we meet Luisa, and soon we see the degree of pain and animosity felt by her towards Guido's infidelity. A scene in an outdoor cafe illustrates the rawness as Carla sits alone at a table whilst Guido, Luisa and her friend sit in another, a mere few yards away. The direction here tends to emphasise how Guido handles this vitriol free of emotion, indifferent one would say, which reflects on perhaps his tiredness of the deceit. And soon after this, the harem sequence, which enables the females to state their views on Guido, appears, and we hear a mixture of good, bad and mediocre comment. Within the dream surroundings, women are sent upstairs as a form of discarding them. Their time is up with him and new faces arrive. This symbolises the life timeline, I feel, and Carla is visualised with a harp to suggest serenity and calmness. One often wants Fellini's movies to go on forever, but here, as in other works, the endings are challenging and disturbing. Endings to a film project, to a marriage, to a relationship, to a fantasy, to a life. Characters sucking life out of Guido's figuratively. This melting pot is thrown at the viewer and he hides under a table, and a gunshot is heard and we switch to a parade. An array of performers, circus acts maybe, and the line grows longer as more and more of Guido's life-touching people join the line. It prompted me to think of the Pied Piper and also Bergman's Seventh Seal, and alongside a monologue about the realism in life and acceptance that are limitations and fantasies that are limited and that can't always be achieved. Guido joins the line at the end. I make no apologies for this lengthy review of what I saw and heard, but I beg of you to approach your watch and use these hunches to better improve your interpretation of the world in 8.5, as seen by Federico Fellini. It's a truly remarkable piece of work, albeit confusing piece of artistic film, and a movie that I will watch repeatedly. And just reading this review, so many of those images came flooding back as I actually watched this movie over a year ago. So thank you for listening, and seek it out. You will not be disappointed. 8.5 by Federico Fellini.